Hello, my name is James Batchelor and welcome to the new Fiat 500 electric. Now the new 500 is actually a really clever piece of design because it's clearly a Fiat 500, but this new one is actually quite a lot different from the model it replaces. Now to start off with, at the front, well, there's no Fiat logo, there's just a 500 badge, and on some models it cleverly hides the adaptive cruise control, the radar, the adaptive cruise control. There's also a bit more aggression going on here as well. Now the headlight clusters are split. The upper element is an LED day running light, but it gives a more prominent line to the bonnet. A real reference to the 1957 original there. Another nice reference to the original 500 are the indicators here. Really lovely piece of design that. Now at the back, now it looks very similar to the previous 500, I grant you, but when you look a little bit more closely, there's a bit more aggression, it's a bit more butch, a bit more planted. And at the sides, there's a new flush-fitting door handle with an electric release. Now, whilst the outside is very familiar to the previous 500, the interior is a night and day transformation. There are still some nice retro design touches like this steering wheel and the seats and the general design of the dashboard, but there's a big uplift in terms of quality. Everything feels really well screwed together. There's also a big uplift in terms of technology. Now the basic action level trim comes with a smartphone cradle, so you can plug your phone in and that can act as your infotainment system, but models higher up the range, well, they get a larger screen. We've got the top spec car here with the 10.25-inch screen, which works really well actually, but no matter which version of the 500 you go for, you do get this digital instrument cluster in front of you. There's also wireless smartphone charging. You'll notice there's the skyline of Turin there, which is a really nice touch, and there's wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. There are also lots of lovely other little interior detailing as well. On this car we've got Fiat embroidered into the seats. The seats are actually worth a mention because on some 500s you can have a fabric called Sequel, which uses recycled plastic from the seat. It's perfectly in keeping with the car's environmental credentials. Another nice little interior detail is the Made in Torino, which is stamped into the door handle here. There's also a silhouette of the original Fiat 500. You get an electric door release button as well. This car also plays lots of little ditties for you. When you switch on the car and switch it off, a nice little jingle is played. And when you travel at speeds of up to 12.5 miles an hour, a piece of music is played. It's been created by the composer Nino Rota. And whilst a lot of electric cars you get a dull whir while you drive around in electric mode, this car plays a nice little tune to keep you entertained. The only other thing to mention is the all-electric Fiat 500 comes as a hatchback or as a convertible. We've got the convertible here, which allows you to have a bit of wind in your hair in the summer. But that's enough chatter, isn't it? Let's get this car out on the road and listen to that jingle. Now the previous Fiat 500 remains on sale for the time being as a hybrid. This is a full electric car, and let me tell you now, it's all the better for being pure electric. Now, unlike most of its rivals, the new Fiat 500 comes in two battery sizes. There's the 24 kilowatt hour car with a 95 brake horsepower electric motor, and then there's the 42 kilowatt hour batteried car with an electric motor of 116 brake horsepower. Now, the biggest difference between the two is the range. Now, the claimed range of the 24 kilowatt hour car is 115 miles, whereas the 42 kilowatt hour car has a range of up to 199 miles, which means that the Fiat 500 has a better range than most of its main rivals. Now the 24 kilowatt hour car with its 115 mile range will be more than good enough for most people when you bear in mind the average commute in the UK is only 30 miles a day. The 42 kilowatt hour car of course gives you a little bit more flexibility, and let me tell you, 199 miles from such a small car is very impressive indeed. Now you charge up the Fiat 500 by opening the little filler cap, and inside there you'll find two charging sockets. There's the conventional Type 2 socket, which is suitable for a charge from a home wall box or some on-street chargers. And there's also a CCS socket there, which is what you use for a rapid charge. Now the 24 kilowatt hour car can take a charge from a rapid charger of up to 50 kilowatts, whereas the 42 kilowatt hour 500 can take a charge of up to 85 kilowatts. That means an 80% top up from a rapid charger for both cars takes around 30 minutes. If you charge up from home from a 7 kilowatt home wall box, a full charge will take just over 4 hours in the 24 kilowatt hour car, or just under 7 in the 42 kilowatt hour 500. Now there are three driving modes in the Fiat 500. There's normal, which is pretty self-explanatory. Then there's range, which engages one pedal driving. Now this is particularly useful in the city. It means that when you lift your foot off the accelerator, the car comes to a complete halt without you having to touch the brakes. Then there's the Sherpa mode, which restricts the car to 50 miles an hour, switches off the air conditioning, and it ekes out the range as much as possible to allow you to get home or to a charging point. Now in the city, this car is in its element. The tiny little dimensions, the light, accurate steering. I mean, it's just such a quick and darty little car. The turning circle in this car is very, very tight as well, which is perfect for those tight little parking spaces you find in the city centre. Up to speed, it's pretty stable as well, and it's a very quiet and comfortable and refined car, something which you don't expect from such a small car. Not only is the 500 very fun to drive, it's also very safe. Now as standard, you get lane keep assist, you get automatic emergency braking and traffic sign recognition. Blind spot monitoring and adaptive cruise control are standard on the La Prima top spec car, the car that we've got here. Now you get the same high up driving position like you got in the previous 500, but this car is just a lot more comfortable. There's a lot more adjustability. The steering column, for instance, is fully adjustable. You didn't get that in the old car. And you get a proper infotainment system this time round, and it's very easy to use. This car, we've got the larger screen, the 10.25 inch screen, and it's very easy to use. We've also got the reversing camera on this car, and it gives a crisp, ultra sharp picture on the screen as well. Now the two previous versions of the Fiat 500, for many people it's their first introduction to the world of motoring, and this car will be for many people their first introduction to the world of electric motoring. So with that in mind, let's bust some electric car myths. Myth number one, EVs don't have enough range. Well, they do. Now when you bear in mind that the average daily commute is 30 miles, the 24 kilowatt hour car with a range of 115 miles will be more than enough for most people. And if you need a little bit extra, you go for the 42 kilowatt hour car, because that gives you a range of up to 199 miles. Now I don't know about you, but I very rarely travel distances longer than 200 miles without having to stop off for a break. Myth number two, EVs are slow. Have you driven an electric car? Because the torque is fully available from the electric motor, it means that as soon as you put your foot on the throttle, you go. For example, look at that. That is really quick. Now, the 0 to 62 mile an hour acceleration time of this car is 8 seconds, but come on, it feels a lot quicker than that. Myth number three, EVs are expensive. Well, prices for the all-electric Fiat 500 start at around £20,000. They top out at just under £25,000, which, let me tell you, for a car with a range of 199 miles is very good value for money indeed. And because all Fiat 500 electric prices are priced below £35,000, you're able to take advantage of the government plug-in car grant. Lastly, electric cars are expensive to run. No, they're not. If you top up at off-peak times, a full charge in this car is ridiculously cheap. And when you remember an electric car has fewer mechanical parts than a petrol or a diesel engine car, servicing quite often is cheaper. So there we are then, that is the new Fiat 500 electric. For any more information, visit snows.co.uk/Fiat.